here's a really short description of Tatooine. It's boring, uninteresting, and has nothing to do with anything that's going on Naboo or in this movie. But don't worry, I'm sure they won't be down there for long. So they end up on the planet and begin looking around for a part they need for their ship. It's there that they meet Watto, who, if they use all their force concentration, they might be able to understand a word he's saying. Then we're introduced to little Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon Jinn goes with Watto to look at some of the parts, and as soon as he's out of the room, Anakin asks Queen Uba Duba if she's an angel. When she asks what he's talking about, he says he heard space pilots talking about angels. They're supposed to be the most beautiful creatures in the universe, and they're supposed to live on the moons of Vago. Uba Duba responds to this by asking, "How do you know so much?" He just asked if you were an angel, and he thinks angels live on the moon. He doesn't know anything. Anakin begins telling her how he's been a pilot all his life. The conversation then steers into the fact that he's also been a slave all his life. So, I'm confused. Is he a slave or a pilot? How does it make sense that he's both? Anyway, Watto and Qui-Gon begin discussing parts when Watto tells him that the Republic credits are no good on Tatooine. Qui-Gon discusses what they have to barter with Obi-Wan, but he tells him that they don't have anything in the amount they need. So Qui-Gon says, "Oh well, I'm sure something will just come along and get us off of this planet." I'm serious. That's his solution. Just wait around for something to happen. How about reveal yourself as a Jedi and tell Watto that if he gives up the part, you'll come back with twice what it's worth, and if he doesn't, you'll be really, really mad. Nah, then they wouldn't be able to force the stupid storyline we need. So then a sandstorm whips up, and Anakin invites Qui-Gon, Uba Duba, and Jar Jar to his house for shelter. And then we enter into the realm of the retarded. First, we learn that Anakin built C-3PO, which has no relevance to anything and was written in purely for a fanservice. But even more than this, Anakin explains that 3PO is a protocol droid and that he built it to help his mom. Yeah, because that's what his slave mom needs the most right now, a protocol droid. Look, Mom, I built you this droid. He can't help with the chores or any of the back-breaking slave labor you have to do, but if you never need help with any protocols, I guess he can do that. But this isn't the worst of it by a long shot. We also later learn that there's a device they put in the body of slaves that will blow up if they try to escape. And so Anakin built a scanner to try and find it. And later we learned that Anakin built a pod racer, an entire fully functioning pod racer, without Watto's knowledge. So I want to explain to you what the movie has just told us. 3 people who came to this planet were not able to buy one part of a ship with money, but a child slave was able to build a protocol droid and a scanning device and a pod racer. So where did he get the parts? And where did he get the time? I'm a working class citizen who can't even afford video editing software, and sometimes I find myself so busy that I don't even have time to do these reviews. If a slave on Tatooine has both the time and the resources to build 3 complicated pieces of hardware, machinery, and equipment, sign me up for that.
You're playing off the field.
Tired of buffering? America's largest 4G network can speed things up.
Look out!
Did you know Sprite uses artificial preservatives?
Welcome to part 2. I don't want to give you the impression that the only problem I have with this film is its plot holes, though they are both numerous and a clear indication that Lucas isn't thinking about what he's writing. This is boring stuff. From the underexplained stakes and organizations in the beginning of the film to the wooden and undeveloped characters throughout, Lucas is totally unable to tell a story in this film. The only thing he can deliver for us is special effects and uninteresting and unhelpful exposition. Special effects are on screen, characters have famous names from past films,
Come here.
Oh, man. Sandford Village. Where I live. Oh, I was quite
That's why I put like a bizarre name on YouTube channels. That's why it's HR, VL. No one's going to accidentally stuff on that.
How about BMW too? I really like it.
I think you ought to call Mr. 76, the dude that owns that station, and see if you can get your money back.
Oh, yeah. They fixed it. Well, you can't drive.
Oh, you turned it back on.
Yeah.
And that's enough for him. It is not enough for me. We've already seen what a mess the organizations and motivations are in the film. So let's talk about the characters. Half of them are just sneaking around in the background, and the other half may as well be a stump that's carried around. This unfortunately includes McGregor as Obi-Wan, which is painful for me to say because I'm a big fan of his work. But here, he just doesn't deliver anything more than an average Alec Guinness impression. The only character in the film that stands out in any way is Qui-Gon. Here, there is actually an effort being put forth by Liam Neeson to add a subtle touch of depth to the character, which we will especially see towards the end of the film. I liked Qui-Gon, I just wish they would have put him in a better film, because even he isn't saving this one. Then we have Anakin, and here we have the ultimate flaw in the conception of the screenplay. The writers need little Anakin to be an oppressed slave, but also a builder of things, and a dreamer, and love-struck, and a mama's boy, and a genius. The problem with that is, 1, that's too many things for this kid to be, so they all need to be rushed, which doesn't give us any time to know the kid. 2, half those things are incompatible with one another given the setting, and 3, this kid doesn't come across as any one of those things. He's just a generic mop-top little boy who is whatever the plot requires him to be at any given moment. And the rest of the characters are barely worth mentioning. So everyone gathers around the slave mom's table, and they all discuss Tatooine's slave problem. Ubaduba comments that slaves are a violation of the Republic's slavery laws when Anakin's mom cuts in, telling her that the Republic doesn't exist on Tatooine. You'd think that this would generate some kind of reaction from Qui-Gon, but no, he just sits there stone-faced and has more to say about pod racing than he does the slaves that are suffering on this planet. So it's really nice to know that the guardians of truth and justice in the galaxy don't care about slavery. I mean, the Republic doesn't exist down here? Why the hell not? Why don't the Jedi send a huge relief effort to the one place in the galaxy that needs them the most? Especially considering that rescuing all the slaves would be an easy task for them. All they have to do is use their force power to turn the exploding things off in their bodies and start moving them off the planet. But then, I suppose I can understand why they wouldn't. After all, there are only adult and child slaves who are suffering here. The Jedi have way more important things to worry about than that, like tax disputes. What the hell kind of Jedi are these? Guardians of truth and justice, my ass. So Anakin eventually figures out that Qui-Gon is a Jedi, and he asks if he's come to free the slaves. But Qui-Gon tells him no. Anakin replies, "I think you have. Why else would you be here?" Anakin, if you think the Jedi in these prequel films are going to do anything useful or good, God,